This is Beer in Front, part of the Beer Media Group. Every week, I'll talk to people in and around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 285 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a charter member of the Beer Media Group. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2026. I hope everyone had a great holiday season. It was nice to take a week off of doing the audio podcast, so I hope whatever holiday you celebrated, you had a good one, but it's 2026. I'm going to do dry January again this year. Well, I need to lose a couple pounds, so figure that's a good way to start by just watching what I drink and not having a couple beers, for the show. So I'm going to do dry January, but lucky for you, it was a wet December. So I had a lot of stuff that I recorded and it's in the can. So I'll still have beer reviews out here and over on video on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, all of that. So there's still going to be plenty of beer content. I'll also still be doing the show with Rod J, the Midwest Beer Show. So you could check that out. That's going to come out this Saturday. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But I'm just going to be doing different things. I'm drinking NA beers, doing more carbonated water. I'll be doing some hop waters throughout the month. For the beer reviews, I'll have an NA beer and then plus another one that I recorded last month. Also this month, longtime friends of the show, Dan and Jinx, gave Peggy a gift for Christmas with some different THC beverages. So Peggy is drinking up, and she'll have some reviews coming out this month as well. So if you want to hear more from Peggy, stay tuned later on this month. With the holidays and everything, there wasn't really a lot of beer news that was out there, but I did see one thing that if you're a fan of college football, they have a Pop-Tarts bowl that it's not one of the major bowls, but I mean, the marketing people behind this are like awesome. The trophy is a working toaster that will come up with Pop-Tarts. But they had at the Pop-Tarts bowl, it was last weekend in Orlando, they had a beer flavor pairing with various Pop-Tarts. Like, I guess I haven't had a Pop-Tart in 50 years, but they have a protein slammin' strawberry Pop-Tart that'll match up with Allagash White, a wild berry Pop-Top that they say matches well with Sierra Nevada's hazy little thing. So that was kind of cool. That was really the only interesting beer news that I saw. So I'm not going to do a separate segment on that. But if you head over to Brewbound, you can see the rest of the beer and Pop-Tart pairings if that's something you'd want to do. Dry January is here, and if you're taking the month off from alcohol like I am, hey, good for you. But there's a thing I want to talk about today. Dry January doesn't mean you have to ghost your local brewery. January is already a tough month for breweries. The holidays are over. The weather sucks in a lot of places, like here in Chicago, and people are tightening their wallets. They got to pay for all these Christmas gifts. So if you're skipping beer this month or liquor for whatever reason, there's still a lot of ways that you could show up and support the places you love. Merchandise. You know what? Who couldn't use a new hoodie or a shirt or a hat or even a pint glass? Those sales help breweries more than people think. So, and you're also like a walking billboard the rest of the year. So if you're going to walk around with a nice brewery hat, you're being a billboard for the brewery. So you could grab merch. A gift card is a big one. You're buying a gift card in January, that's putting cash in the pocket of the brewery now, and it pretty much guarantees you're going to be back later, even if you don't use it until later in the year. The money's going to help a brewery get through a rough period. A lot of breweries have non-alcoholic options, whether they have beer, hop waters. Some places do hop sodas. Some will offer, depending on where you live, like a THC drink. You could still go to the brewery, order something like that, especially if a brewery's having an event like a trivia night or a bingo. You could still have something non-alcoholic and be part of the room, and a full tap room is more fun than sitting at home, even if they're sober people. So, show up for events. You could go get some non-alcoholic options. If a place has a kitchen or food trucks, eat there. I talk to a lot of breweries here around Chicago that have phenomenal food. Old Irving, Half Acre, Haymarket, Steep Ravine, and that's just what I could think of off the top of my head. You could still go and grab a great meal at a brewery. Also, if you're not drinking, bring your friends that are. You could be the driver. You know, a mixed table, whether they have people that drink and people that don't drink, they still spend money. So if your friends are drinking, you could hang out with them and just drive their drunken asses around. You put a review out on Yelp, Google review, Instagram, something like that that'll help a brewery get some attention during a slow month. You could even buy beer for later. Super Bowl's early February, so you could load up the fridge, having yourself all ready for the Super Bowl, and just be there. Like I mentioned before with events, you could just show up and have a good time without having a pint in your hand. So enough of the rant. Please, go out and support your local breweries. I plan on doing that, even though I'm not going to drink this month. So please go out there and support your local breweries. So the other day, I was messing around, just playing around with Chat GPT, just wondering, trying to dig in more into this because I know very little about this. But what I came up with was pretty interesting. I was just typed in a question: create a homebrew recipe based on popular hazy IPA styles. Literally 5 seconds later, it came up with something. It said, this is something used in the most popular commercial ones like Treehouse and Other Half. Gave me this full recipe, all grain. They used a partial mash version of it, told me what yeast to go out and use. But then what I thought was really bizarre was, if you want, it said, I can customize this recipe based on your area. How we knew my area, I don't know. But it says, would you like a Midwest haze? Think Old Irving and Maplewood. So it came out with this recipe. Like I said, once again, it was like 5 seconds later. And it said, this is a Midwest style. I'm just going to read it from what it came out with. It's softer and juicier than a New England IPA, but with more structure, clarity of hop character, and drinkability. So it said, think of Son of Juice from Maplewood, Beezer from Old Irving, and various beers from Hop Butcher and Phase 3. But just popped out this whole recipe, which I thought was just really bizarre. And I'm just wondering, do actual breweries come up with stuff like that to help assist them with their, recipes for beer? Like, certain beers are extremely popular. So if you want to create a version that's similar, do breweries actually utilize this? I would hope they don't. I would hope they just use the tried and true method of human touch and experience and feel. I'm hoping they do that. But I just thought this was really bizarre, just playing around. And it even said at the end of this, if you want, I could create a clone of Son of Juice or Beezer for, home brewing. So I just thought that was really bizarre. And, who knows, if I get back into home brewing this year, maybe I might try it and see and compare a clone of something to the local hazy IPA. But it was just something I thought was bizarre just in my going down my rabbit hole last week. All right, the non-alcoholic beer that's in front of me now is from Sierra Nevada. This is part of their Trail Pass series. This is their Golden. It's 0.5% alcohol. It's a golden ale. I don't know much about it. Picked it up in a mix pack that they had over at my Binnies here. So let's give this a try. I do like some of the ones that they've had. I had one that was but like their IPA, I think is fantastic. So let's see what this golden's all about. The golden is a nice golden color. That's probably why they named it that. Good foam on this. Smells pretty dank. I mean, it's not bad, but it does have a dank aroma on it. I'd have to say I'm not a fan of this one. And I love Sierra Nevada. I love most everything they put out. This one here isn't really doing much for me. Let me take another sip. Just very nondescript. I'm not getting a lot out of flavor there. It's very minimal. I just think there's better NA beers that are out there, even from Sierra Nevada and the Trail Pass line. Like this is, it's just, that's all I could say about it. It's nondescript, very little flavor. I mean, everything else about it is decent. Like the color's good. You have good foam. Like it gives you a beer like feel, but there's just nothing here in the taste that would make me want to drink this one again. So, you do with this information what you want to. I just think there's better NA options out there for you than the Trail Pass Golden. All right, the beer that's in front of me now is from Central Waters. They're in Wisconsin. This is Rift. This is an IPA. I got to tell you a little quick backstory on this beer. So, I work at an airport, and these young guys, they come up. They're like, and they were from another country, I think Germany, but I could be wrong there. We did not know we could not bring this through security. Is there a trash can? Like, son, that's beer. You don't throw that away. You give that to me. I'll take it from you. So he hands me a couple of these and he hands me a Modelo. But I'm like, no, that's perishable. You can't throw that out, son. I'm going to drink that for you. So, courtesy of my friends from Eastern Europe, I'm going to have the Central Waters Rift. I'm a big fan of Central Waters. I do have a brewer shirt from them. I was there about 10 years ago. I'm a big fan of Central Waters. So when I saw this, I'm like, no, you're not throwing that away, my man. So let me have this. So this is the IPA Rift from Central Waters. Rift is a nice color, little darker than your usual IPA, or maybe we're just so used to having hazies that you forget what caramel malts look like, but it's a nice color, good foam on this. I think the smell is really good. I get a lot of like fruit notes in this. Yeah, I mean, it smells great. It's a great smelling beer. It's really good. Really good hop flavors. Mixes well with the malt. Well balanced beer. Some nice bitterness on the back end. I mean, it's not crystal clear like a West Coast. It's a little murky, so I wouldn't call this. It's kind of in between a West Coast and a hazy, but definitely like the taste, I get like a good West Coast vibe with that. I get some bitterness. I think it's really good. You get all the hop flavors there. Now I get a little citrus, maybe like some grapes, some stone fruit in that. It's a really solid beer. So if you're in Wisconsin, you're Central Waters, you could pick up Rift. It's an IPA. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. This is a really solid beer. And thank you to my friends going through TSA that couldn't bring this through. So I appreciate you guys. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. If you need to get a hold of me, please send me an email, dave@beerinfront.com, or you can find me on all the social media channels at Beer in Front. Have a great week. I'll talk to you next week. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.